This is Lawrence D. Adams. I'm back in the studio from the vacation. Hey, join us today as we talk about the jaded factor. We're talking about this whole thing with Will and Chris. We want to talk about the broken image. I want to hear from you today. I got some things I want to share. I know Jono's going to tap in. We're going to tap in about the broken image because it's very important we address this at this juncture. Join us right now as we go live into the broadcast. Then the next day I was in Tampa. So, and flew into Miami and then flew out of Tampa. And then of all things, I missed my flight, and I'm a stickler about being on time, about doing my things. But then I missed my flight. But in the process of all that going on, I had time to regroup, recharge, had to do some things, move some stuff around. Thankful to be back in the studio, looking at some prospects on some things coming up. But I want to definitely talk about today, the jaded factor. The jaded factor, the broken image. This whole thing with Will Smith and Chris Rock has been crazy. But on this Women's Wednesday, we want to talk about the jaded factor. The jaded factor. So we want to definitely talk about that today because I think a lot of times when we hear jaded, we really know what it means? So I looked it up, make sure I'm on the right point when we talk about jaded. So yeah, this whole thing has been saturated in the media. The smack and who got smacked. Smart thing is both parties have made money off of this situation. Both Chris and Will have made money off of this situation. I think Chris Rock sales has went up over 100% has went up. Of course, Will Smith's book has probably hit numbers that it hasn't hit before. So sometimes a situation, what's going on, Sigma? Sometimes a situation like this, it looked bad, but on the other side, they're benefiting on the monetary side. But I want to talk about the broken image because this whole situation, we look at what took place and everyone has their side, who they standing for. Of course, I'm standing for Chris Rock. When we look at this situation, we look at Will, we look at Jada, we look at Chris, we look at all these factors, and we look at Denzel Washington, then we look at Tyler Perry, everybody talking. It's just crazy. Crazy, crazy. Yeah. What's going on, Sigma? I just read that all of Chris Rock's comedy shows are now sold out. Right. See, this one situation, as a grandfather, spiritual grandfather would say, yeah, controversy is a good thing, because now he's sold out. He's going to probably be sold out to next year, because everyone is going to want to hear what is his thoughts on what did he think, what material he's going to come up, Chris Rock, what material he's going to come up with after this happened. Let's be very clear. Y'all got to understand the business side of it. The business side of it. He is in a prime. He's in the driver's seat in this situation right now. But for us with respect, and what Will Smith did was completely wrong. Completely wrong. So let's make sure we get back to the monetary side. The monetary side, yeah, Chris Rock is about to get his papers just went up. Because everyone's going to want to hear, what do you have to say? We didn't hear from this one. We didn't hear from that one. We didn't hear from this person. We didn't hear from that one. But what do you have to say about the situation? What were your thoughts before? Why did you choose that joke? Is there something going on with you and Will? Is there something we don't know? There's so many variables that he can play on that will put money in his pocket. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Then we got to look at Will Smith. He has definitely capitalized on this, because now his book sales has gone up. But what has happened is, even though the outcome has been monetary, even though there's been monetary gains from this, my concern, and I'm saying this from day one, and I wrote something, I was early in the morning, I wrote something, I said, the image has been broken. It's already been broken, but now it's broken again. It's like when I had my other car, I had a crack in the windshield. I try to ride with it. And what happens is that crack in my windshield began to slowly move through the windshield. And if I wasn't careful, at any time, the windshield could have popped out and I could have had an accident. Anything could have happened. So this is what's happened. The windshield has already been cracked. Let me say that. The pristine golden boy image was shot. Yeah, let me say this. The image has already been cracked. It's already been cracked. First, let me emphasize what image I'm talking about. The image of men and how they handle situations, but on another level, the image of how black men handle a situation. That's the whole world seen it. I don't care what culture, they're in Africa. Oh, you see that? Oh my God. They're over there. They're India. They're over here. Everyone knows what took place, and the image of these men, particularly black men, has been marred. The windshield wiper, the windshield has been cracked. Been cracked. This broken image, it made me think of the old song back in the day by and I've been Grandmaster Fast and the Furious 5. Broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the thing like they just don't care. That's exactly what's happening. It's broken glass everywhere. Salute, what's going on, Jonathan W? What's going on? So yeah, bumps in the road and the windshield broke. Right, and that's exactly what's happened. The windshield has already been cracked already. They're not the first one to do some things that mess up the image, first of men, and then how men handle situations. But on another level, how black men handle situations. This is a problem. But this is not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the jaded factor. When we look up the word jaded, jaded means overindulge until there's no excitement. Overindulge until there's no excitement. What has happened for the past 3 years or more, we have been inundated with the life of the Smiths. And in the words of Jono, they have strategically did this because now Will is moving into a social media to get social media what? Traction. And one way to do that is controversy, shock value, and all the rest. But to be jaded with something is to be overindulged till there's no excitement. So how does this play out in Women's Wednesday? I'm glad you asked. I went to ShopRite the day after, and I felt all the negative energy from different races. Thanks, Will. They think we're going to attack them. So how did this all play in the factor? We have been jaded by Jada and Will and their personal life. We have been overindulged in this too. There's no excitement. There's nothing. No, come on, no more, please. It's like going into your favorite buffet, and it's good at first, and then you sit there for a minute. I'm gonna get one more plate. There's a couple more biscuits over there. They just brought us some big new pan of chicken. Let me get that. But you overindulge to there's no excitement. So the jaded factor is this. Could it be that Jada is jaded, and that is the factor of what's taking place? Could it be that we are jaded by Jada? There is nothing else she can say. There's nothing else that she can do. Nothing else that, I'm like, if you say one more thing, that's it. We are over and saturated with all that what's been going on with them. I don't care what you say, it is enough. I want to tell them, shut the front door up. I don't want to hear anymore. Okay, you didn't did this in August. Now it's March. What's going on? We are over and I understand of sharing your pain and sharing your healing process, but enough is enough. So let me get to the women's jaded. Sometimes you become over and saturated with playing the victim and looking for sympathy that it doesn't cause excitement for those around you. Let me say that again. You can be so Jada, we can become so jaded by your situation and your problems that we lose. It's no excitement. We don't even care. We want you to shut the front door up. It said, I've been over after the entanglement thing. Right. So what happens is we got to think about that. Have we been overindulged or jaded by their situation? Have we been played by the fiddle by what's going on? Now, I do have a scripture today. Oh, it's for Women's Wednesday. It's for Women's Wednesday. I have a scripture today. And I normally don't bring out the Bible, but the Bible said you better come out today. Oh, I have a scripture today. And I know it ain't the scripture you want to hear on Women's Wednesday with the broken image. So let me tie this together. The image that was portrayed on the Oscars shows the broken image. The shattered glass or the shattered windshield and the crack that's already been there. The image of men, and especially black men, of how they handle situations. But the other image that we need to look at was the image of Jada before it took place and her disdain of what's being said. Who's pulling the strings on what's going on. So let me tell you why it's the jaded factor. Let me give you this scripture so you can lay down a little foundation on. Proverbs 14:1. I got it right here, and I know it is applicable. So for all those people who come on Jesus stuff, you want to read the King James version, that's the right version. Okay, we ain't talking about the version and King James was this and this and that. Okay, I don't know about the wisdom is right here. It says, every wise woman builds her house, but a foolish pluck down with her hands. Let me say this. So read it in this King James version first, because for all y'all King James people, all that stuff. Every wise woman builds her house, but the foolish pluck it down with her hands. Let's read it in a version that everybody can understand. Let me read it in the right verse so y'all can really get it. A wise woman builds her home, but a foolish woman tears it down with her hands. A wise woman builds her home, but a foolish woman tears it down with her hands. In this situation, who is the wise woman and who is the foolish woman? Who is the wise woman and who is the foolish woman? Proverbs 14:1. The wise woman builds her home. Home, but we're going to say home. But the foolish tears it down. In this situation, what's been torn down is the name or the brand of Smith. The brand of Smith and their household has been torn down, has been demolished. They've been taking the caterpillar and going over it. They've been taking a 2x4 and she's been tearing it down. But a wise woman builds her house. But a foolish one destroys it with her own hands. So I want to say, if what happens is, if we become, the jaded factor is this. If you overindulge in this factor of jada and become jaded, you have sympathy or empathy for a woman who's been using her hands to destroy her house. Get the likes up. Let me know in the comments. Hey, LDA, you on it today. I done worked on my tan, and you can't probably see it, but I ain't worked on my tan outside in the sun. A wise woman builds her house. The house represents, of course, a physical house, but it represents the man. It represents her family. It represents her children. She thinks about, how do I fashion my house? Because when I go out there to the public, people are going to see my house. Have I torn down or have I foolishly destroyed it with my hands? And in this situation, my dear sister, have torn down the image of what? That was already broken behind the scenes of her house. Sisters, I'm talking to you today. Be the wise woman and do not destroy your house. Let me say that again. Be a wise woman and do not destroy your house. Well, LD, hey, how do you destroy your house? I'm glad you asked. How do you destroy your house? Something I learned the hard way. You expose things that should not be in public. You expose inadequacies. You expose situations that took place in the household that can destroy what? The self-esteem and the ego of your husband. What's going on, William? So how did she destroy? We looked at it already. We are jaded by Jada's what? Destroying her household. I understand that you need to talk about it. I understand that you might have a particular open relationship. I understand, but there comes a thin line, or there is a thick line where you think about it. Some things I cannot expose because I need to protect myself, but I need to protect my family. Let me read the scripture again, Proverbs 14:1. Thinking class, I want you to think. A wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands the foolish one tears it down. That means her hands, that means it was, she took responsibility and thought about it, used her 5 digits, 10 digits, and actually destroyed it. Now, so we talked about how do you destroy it? You expose things and say things to mar the honor of your house. She has taken the honor of her house and destroyed it with her hands, her 10 digits. How? You never allow your man to be out there and look like a damn fool, crying on your show, The Red Table, destroying the man. She turned her household and family into a job. Oh, I didn't even see you back there, John. I'm fault, bro. I was gone, man. I was gone. But let me read this scripture again, John. It said Proverbs 14:1. It says, a wise woman. Can you hear me? Oh. Okay. I couldn't get the setting. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Sounds hot. Mic sounds hot.
Let me see. Let me turn it down. Okay. So Proverbs 14:1, it says, a wise woman builds her house, but with her own foolish, but the foolish one tears it down. I can't think of no truer scripture.
Yeah, see, I mean, if you look at it from a standpoint of that day alone, you could say that all of the actions are, probably, wills. But I would say what built up to that, it's like it would have been a whole different outcome for me,
Yeah.
But like I said, I think that was all for, maintaining social media presence and post whatever and, keeping the conversation going. I don't know. Like I said, he's had to make a lot of decisions that don't seem right in the last couple of years. That's what I got to say.
Yeah.
This one is just another decision not going right.
Yeah, right. It's gone south. And it's and you think about it, that's why I want to make sure to emphasize that a wise woman builds her house. That's when she comes in to protect him and say, hey, baby, look at the decisions that you're making. Let's talk. Let's reason together. What do we need to do? Let me make sure we build our house wisely. But the opposite has been taking place. There's learning lessons in all of this. And like we said, we can all say we don't know what's going on in the house, but the image of the cracked windshield is already in place. It's already been cracked already. But that did it on Oscar night.
So it's already been happening. Like I said, what his reaction was an example of what's been going on for a long time. The wrong thing, the thing you didn't expect to happen, always is happening now.
Right.
Come sit at the table and I'm gonna air my business out because there's an entanglement. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know what? You're not that great in bed. I'm gonna tell everybody. Remember that one?
She's destroying a foolish woman.
You know, and even if all that stuff is true, the privacy is gone. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And the actions of Oscar night are literally just another situation. Like even though it's gonna be two things. Either this man has some serious issues to deal with, which is why you apologizing if you don't think you did something wrong. Let's say it like that. Um, and Chris did apologize too. He knows he went a little too far because we heard that joke was not even. It was first we heard it wasn't on the writing table. Then we found out it definitely was.
Mm-hmm.
He was told to say that joke, but he took responsibility and apologized for the joke. But getting back to Will, if you think about it, there's a situation here where there's a breakdown on all his responses to things involving her. There's a breakdown. There's no structure. And like I said, it's either two things. Either he's really needs some therapy about it because he's so overly, participative and honest about his participation, but still not dealing with it. He's participating, he's present, but he's not dealing with it. Or is the other fact that you probably won't think of, people, his pile of dirt is higher. His entanglements are a lot worse that she had to deal with. His, maybe he has external episodes with people and he just has to deal with it. That's why everybody see the Tupac memes and all that stuff. Oh, we know what you could have done or what you should have did, but we can't even let that information out.
Right.
So maybe all the stuff you're hearing where you think that the man's so embarrassed, or maybe you think all the stuff you're hearing is so bad, it could be a lot worse. And this woman is really holding a whole bag of history and a whole bag of resentment and more transgressions we don't know about.
I can almost back dollars to peanuts, as they would say. The old people would say. There's stuff that he's did.
Of course.
I just know it for sure, 100%.
A lot of y'all don't read between the lines. You know what I'm saying?
I sent you a video. I don't know if they took it down.
Oh, no, I think I missed that one.
I sent you a video, and Jaded was not in the picture.
Listen, I'm telling you, you got to look at it for what it really is.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, you're gonna get mystified by a broken man in publicity. Get out of here. They've been in public for years.
Mm-hmm.
They have grown children that have learned the skilled craft of publicity. Guess what? What you got to look at is the fact that in these recent years, there is a change. And maybe there was a paradigm shift right before that. This woman never felt like expressing herself this way until a couple of years back. She never felt like it was the freedom to go into a public relationship, side dude relationship. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Side dude stuff is supposed to be temporary. The side dude stuff is supposed to be stuff that doesn't get out so that you protect the overall structure of your household. And now that it does get out, he got to eat it. Because you know what? He was following the same rules. Now, his stuff didn't get out, but it may have affected her the same way. You see? She might have been sitting on the couch with the long face and the tears and stuff. When he found out maybe he got a little too entangled in something, he went. So maybe what she did with August was more retaliatory. Like, oh, you broke the rules a little bit. Maybe a little. When I say a little too far, maybe a little more. Maybe they invited something into the household that wasn't supposed to come back into the household. Maybe got burned a little. Maybe got pregnant a little. Maybe something happened in one of his conquests. So Then she went retaliatory and said, I'm instead of picking some rando, you know, you know what a rando is. You go on vacation,
Mhm.
get to island local, have your way and come back, like Stella. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then, your life goes on. But she picked a figure, not a huge public figure, but somebody that could speak back. And then it bounced back toward her whole situation. Making that choice means at some point he broke the rules. She decided to break the rules, and then that whole thing is out now. And she wanted it. That's why she speaks so confidently about it. But what did he do?
Right.
What did he do to
Right.
unhinge her entanglement? You get it?
Right. And I completely agree. There is something, the things that he has done, but the image is completely broke.
He wasn't sloppy with it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He wasn't sloppy with it, and now her taking more risks got sloppy. You get it?
Yeah, and that's the part I come into question with, because we both know there's rules of engagement. There's rules of engagement. There's just the point of being honest about what's going on behind closed doors. But when it becomes sloppy, and that's the thing, the hit is so hard that it's for me, it destroyed first their family, but it also destroyed, because at one time, remember, we've been hearing waves 5 years ago, 6 years ago, what? That they were going to divorce, and they knocked it off.
Yeah.
You remember that?
It's a lot of public. It's a lot of public stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, something happened back then. Oh, okay. You think it's cheaper to keep her, huh? Now I'm gonna really show you.
Right.
I think this is all retaliatory from something way back. And he can't say nothing about it because he already forgave it. He was already not, he didn't forgive. She forgave him.
But what cost, though?
Well, here's the cost right now.
Yeah, this is the thing. And whatever it was, and I'm not giving Jada. I'm sorry, I cannot give Jada no pass for it.
Oh, she don't get a pass. What she's doing is taking advantage.
Thank you.
She's taking advantage. Oh, well, my entanglement's out. You're gonna have to sit on the couch and deal with it. Oh man, remember that thing I forgave you for? All right. Okay, I'll sit on the couch. Oh, I'm even gonna talk about your bad sex. Gonna have to deal with that. Oh man, I know, but hey, you said you want to stay together, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, guess what? I got alopecia now. So if I'm sensitive about that, you better slap the living crap out of somebody. Oh, so remember, he laughed at the joke. Anybody saw that?
Yeah, I see.
He laughed at the joke. He laughed at the joke, and then he looked at Jada, and then he got up.
Yeah.
Anybody else saw that?
Right. But this brings the question, though. Made me think of a blues song, but I hear it, but I can't get the words out. While you doing this, who's messing with your old lady?
Well, that's the whole point. Like,
Yeah.
he has to allow it now because of how far he went that we don't know about.
Right.
This behavior that we think is out of, what are you doing, bro? Like, why are you doing? Of course you defend your listen, if somebody did that to me, of course I'm gonna do it, but it won't be built up on some guilt that I got built up inside me for something I did in the past. Okay? I would have handled that a little bit more smartly. He risked his whole Oscar, he risked everything behind a look on her face.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous right there. Thank you, Monica. That's it. Who's making love to your old lady while you out making love? That's the song. That's it.
It's unfortunate, but you gotta understand this is a teardown of many. He's doing damage control from a long time ago.
Yes.
This is not something new. Anybody, come on, that could have been anybody. That didn't have to be Will Smith. That could have been anybody who won that night. Anybody remember that? Does anybody even understand that Tupac? I mean, I said Tupac because I saw it on the list here. Not Tupac, but Samuel L. Jackson won an Oscar that night too. Did you know that?
Yep.
Nobody's praising him for his Oscar win.
It didn't,
Oscar win that night.
it didn't even air.
Okay, so if that's the case, what if Chris talked about Samuel's wife? Do you think he would have reacted the same way?
No.
It would have been a smile, a smirk. It would have been like, "I'm gonna get you later."
That's exactly what it was.
But guess what? It's not because his wife didn't have alopecia. It's gonna be because those receipts aren't built up from past stuff that you already paying back from. Okay, there's certain people that have a relationship established where they didn't break the rules of their particular situation, and we're not talking about the rules of marriage. We're talking about the personal rules between a man and a woman, that you make rules, and that's why you're allowed to have an open relationship. That's why you're allowed to have side pieces, and don't bring it home and blah blah blah. You hear all that stuff because you make that deal, and then you don't break the rules. At some point, you could tell by the allegation of divorce, by the entanglement, by the exposure of this all of a sudden honesty at the red table and everything. There was some rules broken, and now she feels like, I don't have to be quiet no more.
Which is foolish, and she's destroying her house.
Yeah, I don't know why she wants to do that. Maybe because the kids are grown. Maybe because you want all this new social media credit. Maybe some people just want to see the world burn.
That's very true, and that's the part that bothers me, and that's the part that let me fix this. I'm gonna fix this off camera. That's the part that bothers me because so many. I've seen a lot of women. Oh, Jaded, this and that. But you, at the end of the day, are you going to destroy your household because of that?
You don't realize it's not important. In order to get her fame, there needs to be the breakdown of that. People would people. That's where the conversation is. Oh, this was such a power couple, blah blah blah. But all of a sudden, things ain't as peachy cream as you think. She wants you to know that. She wants you to know that it wasn't perfect. I put up with this and I put up with that, but she ain't saying it yet. What she's saying is her truth. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She's expressing her truth, which means it wasn't peachy cream.
It never is.
And it's okay. It's actually okay. But there's some fallout from this. You're definitely taken away from. I'm not saying you have to maintain his masculinity, but you're taken away from it by making him look like a fool out here.
Dude, he looking like I don't forget it. It's out there now. He's looking like a plain stockings on purse.
Dude.
It is as my nephew would say, it's all bad, Uncle. It's all bad. It's all bad.
You really think that the alopecia comment, the joke, was the worst?
No.
That seemed like some light stuff compared to what you've been going through.
Mm-hmm.
That couldn't have been the thing that got you swinging.
Yeah.
Other stuff that should have got you swinging.
He should have been swinging, John. He should have been swinging on the red table.
He should have been like, keep my name out your mouth. He didn't have to swing on that. Violence is not the answer in any case, but he should have stood up for himself. That's my point.
And
I'm like, that's your trouble. That's your road to go on. You need to work that out for yourself. I'm here for you. You can always support your wife. You didn't have to say that you have an open relationship publicly, but hey, listen, you can say, listen, stand up for yourself. Sitting there crying or something, acting like you a victim. Get out of here with that.
That's the part. That's the part I want to emphasize today and tomorrow on Friday. Your guys can call in and give your thoughts on Friday and let me know what you think. I want you to emphasize it's the image that's been out there, that he's been putting out there, that's broken. That's not what men do. That's not what men do.
Listen, I'm looking at Fierce Soul's question. Do I take offense to the name power couple when you've been a proven married man with plenty of experience and success? I don't take offense to the word power couple. I don't like the word couple. I actually don't like it at all. I don't see couple means that you guys can't be unless you are together. I don't like that. I don't like that. My wife is the individual, and guess what? I'm an individual, and we are multiplied because we're together. You get what I'm saying?
Because it stops if she stops, or it stops if you stop.
I should be able to walk away, and the bus keep going.
Dude,
if I got sick last night, you should be able to pick up the mantle and keep going.
I,
It's this inequality that starts to come to play when you say the word couple. And I'm not offended by it. I'm just saying, to me, it limits you. It's a limitation.
it does, man. I'm gonna tell you. It's funny you bring it. It's a situation I know. Is a pastor in Atlanta passed away. He had a nice, thriving church, and he was going around the circuit preaching everywhere. Boom, died. What did she do? She got up and runs to church to this day. The beat didn't stop. And it's grown.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it from a standpoint of not completion. Okay. I'm a complete person already. And so is my wife. And I can make choices that I want to make, and she can make choices she wants to make. And I could literally sit here and be like, I didn't like that choice, but guess what? It's not me. You did that. Now, of course, I'm going to support you in your choices, but I'm not going to sit here and be sad for your choices.
Mm-mm.
If it affects me, then of course, that's my reaction. But for your choices being your choices, it doesn't affect me. If my wife had an entanglement, I'm going to say, hey, well, those were your choices. You suffer the consequence of those choices. We didn't have an agreement for that. So, of course, that's obvious. But the next thing is you bringing it out, letting that person embarrass you publicly. That's another choice that you have to deal with. And it has nothing to do with me.
Nothing.
You're embarrassing the unit, but you're not embarrassing me. You get what I'm saying?
Right. That's that.
You more likely have to speak to our children about that, not me. For me, which is more than likely what happened with Will, not Jada. What happened with Will, she found out about something that changed their agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And now that our agreement is different, she's going to do what she wanted to do, and that's why the entanglement became public. Because something else was far worse that messed up their agreement, that made her get unhinged.
So you say hypothetically that did happen, or allegedly did happen. This the thing. That's when you come back to the table and say we need to renegotiate our agreement. What's going on?
I broke the rules. Is there some penance to pay?
Right.
Is somewhere I can get back in your good graces? Is our trust broken forever?
Right.
I mean, like I said this a couple days ago. You don't know what your grandmother had to put up with to stay married for 30, 40, 50 years.
They have no clue, man.
You don't know. You know, Papa could have been a Rolling Stone. You know, you could have had, lay it down, spread it wide. You don't know what she don't know that people find out at the funeral.
Right.
But always had a idea. Okay, and I'm not just putting on the men going out in a relationship. Women do it too. But the point is, you don't know what was forgiven in a relationship to keep it going. You're telling me in 30, 40, 50 years, nothing's ever happened? I have parents that were married into the 45th year of their marriage. Okay? I watched them fight when I was younger. So you can't tell me they didn't do nothing that they were forgiven for. I watched the arguments. I watched the little petty stuff. I watched how, you can throw your keys on the floor. You didn't hit nobody, but throwing the keys on the floor is a sign of aggression. You can see they're walking out the door. Oh, I'm coming with you. You can see something was up.
Right. Right.
They didn't want to show you everything and try to mask your innocence as a child, but trust me, something was up.
Right. But
don't act like every 40, 50 year relationship, oh, he was a perfect man. Remember that skit during The Living Color?
Yeah.
The family was all cool with everything. As soon as the family left or company left, they started, doing, side jabs at everything. Oh, taste this little. Oh, don't taste right. Oh, you're gonna get sick and die. It's like they take little jabs at each other because what's built up over the years that is that little slight, like a subtle burn of no, I don't want this the way it always was. You see, and like I said, that agreement you have that you spice things up, or that agreement that you give people a little freedom. And it may not just be another woman. I'm talking about, oh, that could be bowling night. Oh, that could be playing pool with the boys every Tuesday. Oh, that could be, the ability to basically have your little piece instead of like always clinging to each other. Have your little, individuality. That I think is the pressure release and the importance in a relationship. Those are the rules. We're not just talking about side chicking people. We're talking about having a little piece to yourself. Okay. I know my wife allows me to be a DJ at night. I know that it may not be something she's happy with. Okay, yeah, I'm out. I might be, if I turn into some money, it should be good. But it's also to disconnect me from the monotony of being in the house all day.
Correct.
It's important because if you had it, you might go out of your mind. I'm being honest about that.
Right.
She knows.
Right.
If you don't, even if you don't make enough or don't bring in enough, at least it's a little peace and sanity for that particular moment because things ain't always the best.
Right.
If she asked me for something, I'd have to say, "Listen, you've been putting up this week. Of course, why would I tell you no?" You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Why would I say no to you after what you allow me to do? You see what I'm saying? I mean, if it comes out someday, fine, but that'll be an agreement we make. It won't be just something that you throw on the red table. You get what I'm saying?
And that's the part that I don't like because that's the part of the broken. And shout out to Joe Blast for that $5. So that's the part that bothers me. The agreement was broken. Whatever, we don't know. We're speculating, alleging, whatever the case may be. But certain things should not be on the red table for everyone to see. Like you said, in a 30-year, 40-year marriage, there's ups and downs. I wish I can say some stuff right now, even when I was married. I was like, I'm going to play basketball.
Yeah.
I just need to go. I probably couldn't hoop good, but I was.
Right now, there's people that have never. You see the same word you just said. I'm going out to do this. And it definitely wasn't that. Okay, it was never that. I'm not saying you did. I'm telling you, I said it.
Yeah. Oh, I did it.
I cleaned it up for a reason.
Yeah.
Because the real question you need to ask, they're gonna say no to.
Right.
And even in my previous marriage, my ex was so honest. I was like, why did you even tell me? That was my question.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you even tell me? It was you really felt the need. Well, like I wanted to be honest. Like, well, and that means you didn't want us to be because you knew how I was going to react to that.
Right.
But if you thought you could get away with it, did you tell me because you just wanted to be honest, or did you tell me because you wanted this to be over? You see what I'm saying?
There's a difference. Intentions.
Because you could have handled that. That sounds like something you could have handled. If it was a one-time thing or if it's something you wanted to do, you could have did. I'm not saying I would have been okay with it, but I'm okay not being involved. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you can handle that and you really wanted to keep this together and something tells me you didn't want to keep this together if you told me something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Something tells me it was a lot more going in your mind. You knew that was something that I would not like. So, and then I had to find out that some of that stuff didn't happen. I'm like, okay, well, you just did not want to be together then. If you would just if you want to just tell the person the worst thing you ever heard, and the events may not even happen, you just want to try and do something else. And I'm glad to be out the picture. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And so but that right there, that's when honesty come in. And I'm glad we said something I'm glad you brought up that question. Was it Fierce Soul who brought that question up about the power couple? I'm glad that image has now cracked.
Yeah.
I'm so, because I hear women say, I want to be a power couple. You do this.
Listen, Jade is quiet. You know who else is quiet and don't say nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce.
You ain't heard a word from her.
You don't hear from her. You don't hear from her. And you know Jay-Z is messy.
Oh, he's messy.
If you got your sister drop kicking you in the elevator, guess what? You did something, and your sister knows about it. That means it got outside of it got outside of your relationship and down already down the street to your mom and your sister. Is she gonna drop kick you in the elevator? You did something, and she
Right.
forgave you.
I will say this, Jono. There's a difference of how Beyonce handled it and how Jada has handled it.
Very true, very true. But we haven't heard the last from Beyonce, and that's the problem that you don't understand yet.
Right.
You gonna wait? She gonna wait the same way. She don't need to react now.
Right. Well, she did come out and did come out in the song Lemonade.
Correct. That's one way.
But she,
Like I said, you got young kids. You trying to keep your image. You trying to do all this other stuff. Jada and Will have grown kids that can handle their adulting now. And guess what? They got 3 little kids. Much different dynamic.
yeah, yeah, it's very different dynamic, but still, in this context, I still commend Beyonce on how she's dealt with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, no doubt. Jada, you don't know what Jada's gone through for the last how many years? That's what I'm saying. This was her cracking point. Now we have not seen the evolution of everybody. Okay, we don't know Jada's parents. We know definitely Beyonce's parents. She was taught to suppress transgressions, so she is dealing with it differently. You didn't hear from Tina Knowles, right? You didn't hear from her until when?
Divorce.
Exactly, and that's my point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it has to be divorced, but you ain't here till many, many years later when the kids were grown, everybody out the house. Now they're gonna be me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna take the suppression that I was dealing with all those years. And they were absolutely not together a lot of those years, even though they were still a couple.
Oh, the power couple.
Get out of here.
Let's answer this question. Even in Chris Rock's situation, do you think he showed strength in maintaining composure, or do you think he cowered and not striking back?
Chris Rock, think about it. Chris Rock is known for siding with the people who he wants to be grouped with. If he would have reacted, he would have got kicked out of that group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He didn't have to be a black man from Brooklyn. He don't mind being hated for his jokes. You know, like the memes are saying now, everybody hates Chris. Listen, it's the fact that he didn't want to add to it. He already knew it was bad when he had to be reacted to. He didn't want to add to it.
Right.
So he should have done something about it, but he couldn't have done something about it.
Right.
That would have made it worse, because once you realize you ain't being preempted, they ain't cut you the commercial, you got the full audio of you out there, they wanted 2 black men to fight.
Because it didn't show Denzel giving Samuel Jackson his first oxen.
Yeah, it was all suppression. I watched. My wife brought up a article that she saw from many years ago when John Wayne was a recipient of the Oscar, and somebody on that also won that night had an indigenous American accept the reward for them so they could, speak their truth during this acceptance speech. And there was a whole thing where John Wayne was like trying to tear through about 6 people trying to get to the stage to stop this person from doing the acceptance speech. You act like there isn't any violence going on at the Oscars. It's happened. Okay, it's happened. It's not a new thing. But people have been roasted for years on the Oscars as well, and it should have been able to take in stride. Okay, this was Will acting out of something that he felt an overwhelming obligation. He was right when he said he did it for love, because something you did in love is still being worked out between you and your marriage. And guess what? All your wife had to do was give you that look. You better do something, because it's on that list of things you're paying me back for.
And that's a bad place to be in, man. Because now, no, his balls are in her purse, and she got the keys to him, man. That's a bad situation to be in. What's going on, beautiful animated? Good to see you. Man, that's a bad situation. Now with Chris, I thought about this on the plane ride that I missed. With Chris, he is a comic. With any in this world, when we silence the voice of the comic, guess what happens? We silence a part of us that looks at life and that we can laugh at. You gotta have that. You gotta have the comic. You gotta have the jokester. You gotta have the one who pokes fun at the things that you know is funny, or you may not thought it was funny. You say, you know what? That's a good point. I just looked at not Chris, but Dave Chappelle said something about how people talk and their cadence. It was hilarious. But you need that to get you to think, and also so that you can, you know what, let me come back to reality. Let me not be so serious.
And what happens is even the truth, there's some truth in comedy.
Oh, yeah.
There's some truth in comedy. And what happened was I saw what he did as a summation of what he did in 2017. When he was on the Oscars last time, he was making fun of both of them for boycotting the Oscars. Remember, that's the history. Mm-hmm. The history is back then. And guess what? Will was like, oh, you still coming for me. You see? It wasn't just about alopecia. It wasn't just about his wife. He definitely laughed before he got up.
Right. But that look,
it was that look, which tells me the boycotting back then was not Will either.
Whoa, wait a minute. I was at a dun. Say that again.
The boycotting in 17 was not Will. He supported it, but that was not his decision.
You heard it here first. You heard it anywhere else? Thank you for sharing it. Give us some creds. That's a good point. Because that look is almost like a mother-child look. Like, you know, you in church, you bet not. You better get. Woo. My mother gave me that a couple times, more than a couple times, in the backhand too. But still, it was that look.
My mom almost never hit me my entire childhood. It was that look my whole childhood. Trust me, I recognize it.
It's that look. That's the thing. And I want men to really think about this. And I know it's Women's Wednesday. Are you controlled by that look? What's going on, Jennifer? Alumni, what's going on, alumni? Are you it's that look, man. That look right there. It's funny, my mother tried to pull it out. Like, you know, I'm your mother. I said, yes, you are, but you know what? That look doesn't work anymore. Respect. But it would go all the sideways. And that's a lot of men secretly are in relationships where that look has got them hog-tied.
Starts with the subtle things. Where you going? Mm-hmm. Starts with the subtle things like, hey, when you coming back? And, you know, all those control mechanisms. Like, listen, the more details you get, the less exposure I'm going to have to do the most I could possibly do. And if you set those ground rules early, you don't have to speak for it later.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I'm telling you, that look I gave my boys, not my husband. That's the thing. When you do that, let me say that before the lady, because it is Women's Wednesday, you emasculate your man by doing that. They may not have told you that, but you are not his mama. You're not his mammy. That's when me and my sister would go back. No, please don't do that. Please, Pawpaw, activate. Don't get mad. Just leave. No, don't do that to your husband.
A lot of people don't realize if we were really hunter gathering, you have to allow the time for that to actually take place. You can say, oh well, dinner starts at 5, so you're gonna have to get the dinner here between 2 and 3. You're gonna have to let it be. You have to say, okay, well, hunter gathering took from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock today. Well, guess what? I caught enough for tomorrow. See, the compromise would have been in allowing the freedom to let the actual success happen, and then you reap the rewards after. If you're always jumping in, and I'm talking about all you people that like to text and interrupt and, oh, what are you doing? Because I have an insecurity problem and all this stuff. All you're doing is stopping the success or the momentum of the thing that's already in play. Well, I want him to know I care. I want him to know. No, you understand. If you're in a trust relationship, you shouldn't have to establish that every day. Yeah, you should do little things that prove you love each other every day, but that does not mean you have to interrupt their workflow, interrupt their success flow.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get to you. They love you. They're going to get to you. Don't worry about it. And yeah, and so what if it's not 6 to 9, at night when you are home from work? It may not be. What you should have on your mind, which what I've seen with the most, I got to look at the blueprint of the most successful people I know. They have spouses. We're not gonna say they're couples, whatever. The spouse that they have leaves them alone.
See, wait a minute. Dun, 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 dun. Where my clap? I can't even find it. Dude, they leave them the French vanilla alone. Just leave me alone. Michael Jackson, just leave, because this is the thing. I'm glad you said that, John, because that was my Monday. Just leave me alone. When I was left alone with my own thoughts playing in the sand, I can appreciate whatever else when that time is there.
We don't respect the fact that, I was an individual first. You don't respect the fact that, what, some of the ideas I came up, I didn't come up with all this, interaction and doubt in the middle of my decision-making process. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What you have to realize is that people are individuals first. If you're not 100% individual, you can't be in a relationship.
You mess it up.
Imagine if I went after my wife for every little thing. Hey, did you do this? It's like, oh, wait, what? I married a child here? You go, yeah, I hope you come to the same conclusion I come to. I'm not sitting here trying to beat the decision I made into you. No, it's about commonalities. It's about alignment. It's about congruency.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should be thinking about, not trying to control people.
Yeah, and that look that Jaded got, that we are jaded from, is that control look. That goes back to the scripture that I gave at the beginning, Proverbs 14:1. A wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands, or we can say her own look, destroys her house. We gotta. It's so serious, because could it be that some women look at their men as a child and never as a man? That is the reason why they gave that look.
Or how about, you never did nothing for me, do something for me now? I put up with all that you became. Now I want you to do something for me. And that's where the emasculation comes from. Not because you were a child, but because you were guilted into doing it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel. I think Will is allowed to be in how many countless movies? He's been allowed to be in countless different productions and stuff like that. And if you think about it, him becoming more social means he isn't that active in the acting world anymore. He's becoming more social so he can transform to a different type of public figure.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're cooling things down, now Jada wants to turn things up for herself. You see? Because I allowed you to keep that image so you can keep those large salaries for those movies.
It sounds like that's that whole power couple, right, Jono?
Seems like they made an agreement. And now that the rules are changing, she should be allowed to change the rules. But does that mean you have to give yourself up behind it? No. Go back to the writing table instead of the red table and go and agree to something else.
That's exactly it. That right there, that is exactly it. But you know what? So the struggle really is that we are all jaded from is who is in control of the social media side of everything. Who's more relevant now?
Oh yeah, she was trying to do that.
Say that again.
She was trying to do that before he even thought about opening an Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're gonna put yourself out there? Well, then I want you on the chopping block too.
And that's serious. Now, this is a dynamic we need to even. This is a problem. This is a dynamic we need to think about. This is something that needs to discuss inside of a marriage or what's going on. Can you, just ladies and men, can you handle? Let me say it correctly. This is a man's channel. Can you handle the success of your husband and not feel threatened by it?
How about can you get what you want without taking what he has away? You should be able to get what you want without taking it away.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you want to level yourself up, go get that from the resources you built over the years. Why you got to break down the person?
Yeah, Jennifer, you said I can. Yeah, because sometimes I've seen it recently, very close to me, where the success or the potential of the success becomes a threat to the other person. And what they do is they claw and try to bring it down because they think they're going to get cheated out of it. I've seen it. Shout out to you. Thank you, Cerise. Appreciate it. Thank you. There you go, John and the W. He says, can you handle the success of your partner without feeling less than? That's a good factor. And what happens is that falls into that whole fantasy of being the power couple. Man, we probably need to dissect the power couple. We're supposed to go to the whole tale. Hey, the power couple, we're going to do this. We're going to conquer the world. You and I watch him on social media pushing that narrative.
You know what I heard? I heard this from a married man. He said, don't partner with anybody in business. He said, don't partner with anybody in business. And that stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some people can work with their spouse and they can help build their business and blah, blah, blah. But wouldn't it be better if you built your business and they built their business? So that way, if one of y'all had an issue, you always fall back on the other. Why did y'all have to fail together? You know what I'm saying?
Right. You go swimming, you swimming, then she didn't came along, y'all swimming together, and then y'all both drowning. Come on.
She could have had a yacht, and I could have had a yacht. And if my yacht, something happened, not that we're doing it. See, y'all think it's separate. No, we have two now.
At the same time.
That's the point. Oh, you want to start a grocery business? Well, I'm going to start a record business. And guess what? Now we got two businesses. That's the point. You didn't need to be in the studio with me, chasing me because you didn't trust me. And I didn't need to be at the store trying to toil and do all this stuff. You could hire a stock person and a front person, everything. I don't care. You know what? I trust you in your business. You trust me in my business. Guess what? We got two full function businesses. We got twice the money. That's the point.
But no, we want to be a power couple.
Let's do it together.
Let's do it together. Come together as one. Yeah, right. You know. So do you think that you think threatening is the cause of why most relations go sour? Yeah. That's part of it.
Some people don't understand what a threat is. I could make a threat all I want. As a matter of fact, threaten is they're like blanks in a bullet in a blank bullets in a gun. It's really the promises you keep are the ones that are most hurtful in a relationship.
Right.
You don't have to say the promise. You could show it with your actions. Oh wow, this person's really gonna be this way every time. Every time, no fail. Rain, sleet, snow, like the mail coming to the house. You know what I'm saying? But if you keep a promise that's, positive in a relationship, of course it's gonna have a better reaction in the situation. The promises you keep, or the threats are just that's a sign of abuse
Mm-hmm.
and toxicity. But the promises you keep, whether you say them positive or negatively, or whether you say them or you don't say them, that's what really hurts.
Yeah. Because right. So King Phoenix, what's going on? Jada is polyamorous, is independent. She should stand up for she should stand up for herself. She expects her partner to play a traditional role of protective king when she herself does not want to play a traditional role.
Imagine if she would have got up first. Matter of fact, funny as it is, remember Bad Boys? Remember Bad Boys, the movie?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm gonna hit him. And you gotta say, no, I'm gonna hit him. You see, it's like the united front is more powerful.
Right.
Imagine if she would have got up in just 2 steps, and it would have been like, oh, I got this one. That's a man. I'm gonna take care of this one. As messy as it would have sounded like she didn't instruct him to do it.
Mm.
You see all the Energizer Bunny memes right now. It looks like she put a battery in his back. By that look. But see, that look was because, like I said, there's something else going on. It's like, oh, okay, all you didn't do, you better do this.
Mm-hmm.
See, now if they both would have got up, you would have had a whole different reaction. Even if he went up there and slapped him, it still would have been a different reaction, because you would have seen the emotion and the passion in her reaction as well as him. Now, I don't condone it. Like I said, I don't condone the violence.
Right.
But that united front, and not just him feeling like he had to do something, it would have spoke a different language.
Jennifer has a good question, and this is a very good question, and it's something that is part of what we're talking about, the broken image. Where is Will's protection?
That's been used up. That's been used up.
Yeah.
Will's protection ran out when their claims for divorce came up many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you got to realize. His protection ran out. She was protecting him all those years, and something happened, and now she publicly said, "You're not protected anymore." And since then, he has not been protected.
No, he has not.
That's what you got to realize. Will's protection ran out as soon as she decided to publicly let that out, and then it got publicly suppressed too. It went away, which means they must have went to some kind of counseling. They must have decided internally, we're not going to do it. But even though they didn't get divorced, tell me this ain't almost just as bad if you think about it, because she admitted your protection has run out. You're no longer protected, Will. I'm going to embarrass you at any point. I'm going to make up a table. I'm going to paint it red, and I'm going to have you sitting at it right after all the other messy people been there. So you know there's going to be the messy red table. So that way it's going to be established. Okay? I'm going to publicly embarrass you with the thoughts of divorce. I'm going to publicly embarrass you with your ability to not satisfy. I'm going to publicly embarrass you with your replacement. And let it be associated with one of the months out of the year. Guess what? I'm going to embarrass you.
And I'm going to bring up what? I'm going to let the allegations go along that me and Tupac really didn't do nothing but allegedly.
Tell me, since that day, he was never protected again. Never protected again.
Never.
She gave up at that point. So whether the paperwork was signed or not, it was over.
Now, let me say that even with that, it's still, I want to make sure it's not justified. We are explaining the situation. There's no justification of what she's doing. Dead wrong.
Oh, You could tell when somebody's done.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Oh, I want to stay together because my image or whatever. Who knows what the discussion really was? But you could tell she's gone. She's been gone.
I don't agree with it's cheaper to keep her. Been hearing that all my life.
It definitely ain't cheaper. He's given up his entire reputation for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happened again. Because at a time when you should be able to defend your wife's honor, you can't. Because it's all the veil has already come down on all the other transgressions. You don't know what this was for.
Right.
This could have been a valiant manhood gesture, and it could have definitely been all Chris's fault and everything. But now you know everything. Now that you know the whole story, you can't really give it all that credit.
Yeah. It's and great point, Joe Blast. Red table covered with Will's blood. Right. This is a teachable moment for everyone. Look what time it is, man. Guys, we got so much to talk about this. I got to get ready to go. Tomorrow, we're going to continue tomorrow. The broken image. There's so many variables and nuances to that. There's a teachable moment. And we don't know what goes on behind their scene. But I tell you right now, somebody's balls, his balls are in her purse. And she got them on clutch. Every time he's trying to stand up, she got a Louis bat, and she's like, hoop. She's already in the ninth inning.
I'm very curious as to what happened before that decision of divorce.
Yeah, and I had a video I sent you, but the person took it down. The video was this young lady was holding the Oscar, Will's Oscar, and he's up there eating food. Younger lady, very attractive, blah, blah, blah. I sent it to you. The next thing you know, yeah. Very attractive, younger. She's holding it, and Jaded nowhere around.
Wow.
And then I looked, and I sent it to you, and then I sent it to the group, and then it went taken off immediately.
Scientologists got it all wrapped up, don't they?
He said his manhood is in her pants. Let me get out of here. I got to get ready to go, man. The inability, let me get this, Joe Bass, inability not to view your significant other as competition comes from a lack of healthy ego. Your partner accolades does not outshine you. They are merely a reflection of your success. Good point. Facts, Joby says, cheaper money maybe, but very expensive to your sanity. Correct. Let me see this, and I'm going to get ready to go. It's sad when I hear that they say cheaper to keep her. So men are literally miserable because they don't want to lose the money. What's the point of having that money if you're unhappy?
In this case, Will definitely could afford to be apart from her. He wanted to keep the image of that unit, the image of that power couple.
Yeah.
And she's making him pay for it.
Big time.
It's happened too many times not to recognize that she definitely wanted out.
Yeah. But could it be a change on the horizon? Will done turn eunuch. Pretty much. Or he may have turned eunuch to this situation, but being very fruitful in another situation.